What is up, everybody? TheLGuy here, back with another video. Now, I know this video is, I guess you could say it's a bit, god fucking damn it. I guess you could say this video is a bit overdue. Well, not really overdue. Listen guys, when it comes to making these Splatoon fanfiction reviews, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of slacking in that regard. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Like, the first one was like, what, back in March, February, and the second one, I'm recording this on the 31st of May right now. I don't know when this will be uploaded, but it's definitely not gonna be within May. We're already halfway through the year, and this is only the second review video I've made on this channel. Listen, I'm waiting for like Splatoon 4 to come out before I start making any more gaming videos, because like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Splatoon 3 is it anymore. I really don't.
I'm sorry, little one.
That being said, I probably just need to start reading more fan fictions to make more review videos, because at this rate I'm picking at the bottom of the barrel. Like, at this point I might just start reviewing my own stuff. I'm not sure, but that being said, we are here with another review video, if you couldn't already tell, and this one might be different from the last two. There's a lot to go over in almost like each highlight, so this might be the longest. And yeah, I mean, like, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. We will get there when we get there, and when we do get there, some of y'all might have some PTSD. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and say the name of the fanfiction we're reviewing. It is called New Star. So for those in the know, you might just got a semi-heart attack from hearing that name again, or you might actually be really happy that I'm covering this, maybe for the wrong reasons, but we'll see.
What do you mean by that?
For those who are not in the know, you will soon be in the know, so don't even worry about it. But yeah, that's gonna be the intro for this video, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. So for starters, let's just go ahead and get the overview, you know, through with words. This story is another Splat human fic. Wow, who could have guessed? Am I right? There's obviously a human main character. This story is a bit different from the rest. Before I forget, his name is Edric, and let's just say Edric is he's got me. I'm recording this at like 10:57 in the morning, so that's why I sound out of it right now. I don't know why I picked like the worst times to just start voicing things. I think that's because when I write these scripts, some of the things I say in them are like they get me like, wow, I really said this. And the only way I can really say it without thinking too much about it is if I'm like really tired, and that only happens if I'm like staying up really late or waking up early in the morning like this, because I am not a morning person. Mini rant out of the way. Main character's human's name is Edric, and unlike other human protagonists that we reviewed thus far, Edric is kind of a guy who he just has a way with the ladies, you know. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get to that. Yeah, so it's just details what he goes through. The story actually takes place over the course of Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, so that's pretty neat. You guys will see why this video in particular is so long and why I have so much to say about it. But yeah, let's just go ahead and let's jump into the first highlight, shall we? So as I said, our human main character, his name's Edric, right? And I will say, this story takes some creative liberties that I wouldn't personally not have thought of in a million years, because I am not as creative as this author, which I forgot to mention in the overview. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, so getting that out the way, the author is author of this story. His name is Primus1243, and back to what I was saying about the first highlight. Creative liberties. Yes, this story has plenty of them, and one of the ones I find most interesting is the fact that the main character Edric has this incredibly advanced bracelet that somehow gives him the ability to switch from a human into an inkling. As weird as that sounds, it wouldn't be the first time I read something that had the main protagonist switch into some ink-based form. I mean, hell, the game itself already proves a mammal can indeed gain said abilities. Besides, I like the concept itself, probably not for the right reasons, but I do. I think the most interesting thing about Edric's ability to switch is that the bracelet is basically an electronic, so it runs on power. And when it runs out of power, he automatically swaps back into his human form. This gives the story small bits of tension throughout the plot, but he does eventually end up upgrading the bracelet so he has more time with each use. There's also this running gag of him being unable to properly shift into his swim form, which, yeah, makes sense. He'd have to learn how to be an inkling, so props on the realism for that. Another obstacle that I like this story gave him is that his words automatically translate to other inklings and octolings, but despite that, he himself cannot read or understand the language. So, you know, that was a challenge in the beginning of the story, but don't worry, he solves that problem via the goat. And who's the goat? I'm glad you asked. Out of all the characters in this story, both canon and original, there's one that stuck out the most to me, and that's Hi. Pretty sure I said that right. He's the AI responsible for overseeing whatever facility Edric woke up in, and not only is he the first character to be introduced into the story, other than Edric, obviously, he's my favorite. I might have already said that, but yeah, he low-key reminds me of Codsworth from Fallout 4.
Charles Dickens walks into a bar and orders a martini. The bartender turns to him and asks, olive or twist?
To be honest with you, I'd say Hi is a superior version of Codsworth. Like, you might as well make the AI the real main protagonist, since without him, Edric wouldn't have that bracelet that allows him to switch into an inkling, and he would not have the ability to blend in with Inkfish society, and he wouldn't have any way to study or learn their language, and he probably would have never discovered the Squid Sisters. Speaking of the Squid Sisters, something you gotta know about our boy Edric is that he's not just a human, he is a human player. Remember when I said he has more riz than any other human protagonist we've just talked about thus far? He pulls these squid bitches left, right, top, bottom, front, back to front. My boy is swimming in ink pussy. Is that the worst thing I've said on this channel? I think that was the worst thing I said on this channel. Edric is able to pull all these distinguished ladies because of his immaculate game. And by immaculate game, I mean by acting like a complete NPC. He literally only got Callie and Marie through sheer luck. They thought he was homeless, so it started out as a pure concern only to develop into something more. How does he pull bitches from simply being homeless? What kind of plot? Don't even get me started on all the others. It's like, I can't, Edric, how? Anyways, moving on to the next highlight, I'd like to consider this story on the side of romance. The romance side of things isn't necessarily my forte, however, I am open to experimentation, and if there's one thing I do like about the story, it's how it shows Inklings and humans have very different ways of going about romance.
What do you mean by that?
One section of the story, Marie goes on to say how female Inklings don't really mind if their male sleeps with other females so long as they take responsibility for squishies. And for your information, squishies are what they call baby Inklings, which I thought was pretty cute. She even goes so far as to say female Inklings are homemakers of their species since they usually go to have many kids. Now, on one hand, you might say this is just an excuse for the author to explain why a harem with no repercussions is feasible in the story. On the other hand, there are real-life examples of this in the animal kingdom, so maybe it was inspired by science? I don't know, I'll let y'all decide that one. I just like the fact that their social constructs in regards to romance weren't the same as humans. That gave something to explore, so, you know, it was a nice touch. I like that. So, we all know Callie, right? She's energetic, cheery, funny, usually, and overall a nice person. We all know Callie when she wears the hypno shades, right? Well, in this story, when she puts on the shades, she basically dons the Green Goblin mask. Only instead of turning into a psycho, she turns into a dominatrix. Not kidding. While wearing the shades, she lures Edric somewhere in the canyon without him knowing, and by the time he realizes he fell for the okie doke, she's basically giving him the fuck me eyes, and there's nothing he can really do about it. Now, like the good person Edric is, he obviously is not going to take advantage of her while she's in the state. No, he is a man with class. Clearly, I mean, fellas, she isn't in her right mind.
Here's the thing.
Whenever Edric goes to curve her, well, let's just say Callie looks at him and basically goes,
"Now, I tell you what, I like you and I want you. Now, we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way. The choice is yours."
Now, fortunately for Edric, he's able to escape by employing the skills he learned from playing Metal Gear, so, you know, all is well in the end. But yeah, that whole part of the story was kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Now, if you've noticed, this section of the video is much longer than the highlights I quite literally briefly just went over. And there's a good reason for that, because highlights are meant to just say what the scenes were and what exactly I liked about them, whereas the rating is going into depth on, you know, how I felt about each certain scene, I would say. And how do I feel about New Star exactly and all the scenes I just went over? Well, if I'm gonna be honest with y'all,
I mean, it's alright, like,
overrated as fuck, in my opinion. I mean,
I think at this point, everyone and their mama has heard about New Star, especially if you're reading through Splathuman fanfics. I was left out of the loop. Ain't nobody tell me about this shit, so I went in completely blind, which I honestly think is the best thing to do for a story like this. And shit, I mean, I only heard about this a few weeks ago, and I read it in a few weeks. I'm gonna be honest, it was not all that bad. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely problematic elements in the story, a few of which are worse than others, but we'll get to those in a minute.
But we want to hear about them now.
I'll go over the things I liked about this story first. Before I do any of that though, I do want to make one thing clear. When I rate these stories, I don't rate them based off of how well written they are or how interesting the premise is. I base them off of how well the story kept me hooked, which New Star did. For a time. I like the introduction of Hai, and I like the idea of Edric being able to shift from human into Inkling thanks to advanced technology. It was certainly more creative than anything I would have thought up. Another thing I liked, and which y'all might consider me a freak for this, I like the harem aspect of it.
You need to leave.
Admittedly, I don't have a concrete reason on why I like it, I just do. My thoughts on harems are a bit biased, but I completely blame that on High School DxD, as it was the first anime I've ever watched. Yes, I was a freak as a child, and I'm still a freak now, sue me. Lastly, my favorite part of this whole story was the chapters revolving around Edric being held prisoner by the Octarians while Callie was under their influence, and no, it was not because Callie was a dominatrix. Like they explain with Inklings, Octolings also have a unique societal structure when it comes to romance, though to sum it up, it basically involves female Octolings looking at any males that they like and going,
Hey, nigga, you got a nice little ass, nigga. Give me your ass, nigga. Nigga, you see me looking at you, nigga. Give me your ass, nigga.
Funnily enough, this isn't the first time I've seen this in a Splatoon fanfic, though maybe that's why I like it. Just to clarify, I don't have a thing for dominant women, I swear. I just think it's a neat gimmick for the Octarians. That's all. Yeah. Now, remember when I said there were a few elements that were problematic? Well, we're gonna talk about those now. So the hair.
Hold up. Didn't you just say you liked that element of the story?
If you let me fucking finish, I can clarify what I mean. Like I said earlier, I do like this element in the story. For one reason or another, I don't mind harems. What I did mind was the affection displayed between Edric and girls. Obviously, if you have characters that love each other and the relationship isn't abusive, shows of affection are inevitable. I don't mind the show of affection in the story, it's just with New Star specifically, the love shown seemed to be a bit too cheesy for me. Corny even. Another thing, although the parts where Edric was held prisoner by the Octarians were indeed my favorite, there was oddly an excessive mention of the big R, and if you don't know what the big R is, well, it's a certain word that rhymes with grape. After Edric found out what was going on, Callie basically turned to FNAF.
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night,
and progressively got hornier and hornier for Edric as the days went on. Even after he manages to escape, I'm sure the word grape crops up like several more times whenever Edric talks about the situation. And apparently, female Octolings aggressively pursuing the romantic interest is so common, one of the female soldiers casually implies that the males are picked. The males that are picked don't really have a say in the matter. Like, they quite literally pull a Viltrumite on them. F in chat for the male Octolings who didn't want this. Like, my goodness gracious. And you know what? Is that bad?
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But for a fictional story, I can look past it. After all, aside from Edric and the narration occasionally putting it front and center, The idea itself was mainly implied to be rooted in Octarian culture more than anything else, and besides, I've read worse. However, even with everything I've said, that pales in comparison to the one elephant in the room. Said elephant, I think, is the reason New Star is talked badly about in some circles of the Splatoon writing community. Now, we all know Edric, right? The last human. Well, I didn't mention it earlier, but it stated that he is a full-grown adult. I don't remember his exact age, but I want to say he was somewhere in his early 20s. Edit here, he was actually 20. That is all. In contrast, his harem is mostly teens, Callie and Marie included, because again, this is, starts at the beginning of Splatoon 1, so they would both be 17. And now, listen, I'm an adult. You guys watching are, hopefully, also adults. I don't need to explain why this is a problem. However, allow me to play devil's advocate for a bit. New Star as a whole isn't an inherently sexual story. It just has some sexual elements to it. Sometimes those elements are put front and center, which that in itself is fine, but said elements could be a bit of a problem if the aforementioned details aren't included. But also, to reiterate, it is fiction. I think the author is allowed to add whatever type of content they want, since at the end of the day it isn't hurting anyone and anyone can choose to read or not read. And although I don't think this is a valid excuse, Edric's inkling body is around the same age as the rest of his harem, so the age difference is more or less swept under the rug, or at least it would have been. I know there are a dozen other things in different fanfics that are much worse than age gaps. Hell, I probably would not have even cared all that much about the harem aspect of the story, even with the age differences, if it weren't brought to my attention almost every single time. You guys can't see it, but I have this webcam, and although it was never on during my read-through, there were certain scenes in the story that made me feel like I had to unplug it, or else the FBI would use it to scan my face and add my credentials to their watch list. Like in chapter 7, Edric asks Callie the age in which Inklings get sexually active, and I'm sitting there like, why? How does that question contribute to moving the plot forward? In what way, shape, or form? Then there is this one part where Kavera, I'm just gonna call her Cave, because like they call her Cav for short. Her name is Kavera. I'm probably butchering that name. I like Cave better. I don't know why. I'm gonna call her Cave. There's this one part where Cave, a teen from Edric's harem, finds out his age and immediately says,
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
look, I'm never gonna knock an author wanting to write stuff that may or not be morally questionable. I think doing so would take the fun out of a fanfic and just fiction in general. And listen, I'm not the fanfic police. I'm not the moral police. I just wanted to point it out because it kept sticking out to me. And that's the whole point of a review, is to critique things that stick out to you. And plus, this isn't even a professional critique, so like, you could just ignore everything I'm saying. Honestly, you could say I'm spouting all bullshit, would not matter, because I'm basically spouting all bullshit. Though I do believe there are ways to write those elements into a story without making the audience uncomfortable. That said, New Star was an okay read for me.
Okay.
Admittedly, I did not finish the whole thing, but for what it was alright. I can definitely see this story not being for everyone, but if everything I talked about is something you don't care about or can ignore, I would say give it a shot. You might actually finish it or make it further than I did. I stopped reading after chapter 25, not because the story got bad or anything, it's just it was so long. It being long wasn't really even an issue. It was long without needing to be like, honestly, the best way I could describe it for me was I was reading a whole bunch of Nathan. Like, no offense to the author, because I'm not I mean everything in this review, god damn it, this whole fanfic review is probably gonna come off as like really mean, really okay, I probably should have stated this in the beginning. I usually do with the disclaimers, but this is my personal opinion on it. I do not hate the author for writing this. I'm just gonna get that out the way. I don't think they are a decrepit, disgusting individual, cause like, people should be free to write whatever they want to write, you know? People are free to talk about things however way they want to talk about it. So it's like, it's kind of like, it should go both ways, right? So it's like, I don't personally hate the author for writing this. I don't have any opinion of them. I don't know them. So I'm just going based off what their story is and how it made me feel. So let's get that out the way. I don't mean this as a personal insult or anything, especially not to their writing skills. And everybody's writing skills is, you know, how you feel about it is subjective, you know. That being said, I don't know, this whole story, as much as I read, it's like, there's just nothing going on. It's like, a lot of the chapters are much longer than what they needed to be. It's like, I'm reading 80% of the chapters is just filler, and then the rest of it is actually stuff you need to go off on. It's like, okay, if the filler was interesting, that'd be cool, but a lot of it isn't. It's like, at least not to me. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a nothing burger. It's like, here's the best way I can describe almost each chapter. It's like a big loaf of bread, right? It's this big tasty loaf of bread covered in like dabbed with some butter, right? Bread and butter, right? But then when you take a bite out of it, the inside of the bread is almost hollow. Like there's no breading, there's nothing. It's just crust. It's all empty. That is what it feels like when I'm reading a chapter, just to find that 75% of the things I read I didn't even need to read, or I could just skim and I would not be lost in the story almost. That being said, after chapter 25, which is around the time the main character got freed from his Octarian prison, and Callie with the hypnotist shades was no longer a thing, that's when the story kind of just started getting boring to me, and I was like, you know what, I probably don't need to finish this. Yes, I apologize if you, the author, are watching this video. I did not finish your story. That is my fault. I apologize. There are plenty of others who did finish it. Don't get me wrong. I've read the reviews. There are plenty of other people who finished it, and some of those people really like what you had to offer. I didn't finish it. There's no other way. I'm sorry. But you know what? That's okay. Not everybody's gonna finish your story. It's that sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, you know. Yeah, this story gets a 2.5 out of 5 golden eggs from me. Yeah, that's gonna be it for New Star, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, again, I apologize for the slow updates. Things have been kind of hard, and I don't mean like personally, I just mean like channel wise, cause like, you know, I scour the internet for good fanfic reviews to do, and I can't find any. And then I'm a slow reader, so it takes me like a while to get through everything. I'm just spouting off a bunch of excuses right now, to be honest with you, but that'll be it for this video. It's New Star, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. If you like reading, you can check out my own fan fictions on AO3 or Wattpad, fanfiction.net, whatever y'all like to read it on. You know, I got stories. I got SOA, Splatoon Country, Octo Bros. I got other stuff. I got a whole bunch of it. So go ahead, check that out. And yeah, that will be it. This is TheLGuy signing off. I will see you guys in the next video, whenever that may be. Later, players.